Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Gentlemen, if you remember probably about 8-10 years ago, we were trending on Twitter, #Raw is dead. We were also chanting tons of things, hashtagging tons of things, just proclaiming how much we despise Monday Night Raw. Some of the worst television we have seen of all time. Now again, I'm taking a break from social media right now. But doesn't it feel so good to have the absolute complete opposite? Especially now that we announced with an interview on the Pat McAfee show with Triple H, which Pat was not on this episode of Raw, and I'll talk about that very briefly to address that rumor whenever we get to it. And he was asked about some changes that would be happening to Raw once Raw moves to Netflix in January. And we were told it will be uncensored. It's going to get edgier. And I see signs showing it. We're already pushing the limit with Liv Morgan now just seemingly become one of the best things in the company. We have Braun Breaker quickly becoming a main event star on the main roster. We have Judgment Day, who finally on this episode of Raw made me think about time they actually have some good merit to them. What else we have? Chad Gable, for crying out loud, got into Money in the Bank after it was told over the weekend he was not going to be in Money in the Bank because of what happened with him and the Wyatt 6 last week. Oh, and don't even let me forget to talk about the awesome promo with Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy. Now, of course, the big question is, a lot of people will question this with Bray Wyatt. How can this greatness off on these promos move into the ring? We'll have to wait and see. But, my gosh, I gotta tell you, 100% honest truth, this was probably one of my favorite episodes of Raw in a long, long time. I can't tell you too many episodes of Raw that I loved this much. I would say maybe the last time I thought Raw was this great was the first Raw since the draft began. That was like late July of 2016, and that was here in Pittsburgh. I unfortunately was not at that show live. Oh, I wish I was at that show live. I so badly. I even could give the Raw in Pittsburgh in August of 2022. I remember Edge took on Damian Priest in that show. Was freaking awesome. There is not too many Raws that I thought were this as awesome as this. And again, Triple H has a ton of work still to do with these talents. Yes, there are some talents that are leaving. Some that, may just be damaged. Well, not their fault, not Triple H's fault, but it may just be a thing where they gotta go somewhere else, reset, and then if the stars align, they can always come back. A Ricochet, I didn't read big into it yet, but a Dijakovic and a few others as well that I know that are either leaving or are rumored to be leaving soon or whatnot. But still, it's like tonight's Raw showed that there is this week's episode of Raw, sorry, because it's Thursday night. They showed that there is hope to give people direction. And that's all I asked for. Hell, Zelina Vega, for crying out loud, had one of the best promos she's had in a long freaking time on this show. The stakes for the Damian Priest and Seth Rollins match, oh my goodness, is actually very mind-blowing, very interesting. Again, lots of stuff happened on this episode of Raw. I loved it. Like I keep saying, one of my favorite episodes of Raw I have ever watched. I had to give it an A. I didn't think it was quite an A+ show, but I thought it felt like it deserved an A. I loved tons of stuff about this episode of Raw. Honestly, if I had more time, this bit episode of Raw I should have gone live for. But again, right now it's just much easier that I just record these episodes to get them out there, and we go from there. But let's get right to talk about it. Guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Again, this is my review of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. The June 24th, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw. It took place in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was also announced this week that there's whatever the stadium is called in Indy, is going to be getting a Royal Rumble, a SummerSlam, and a WrestleMania in upcoming years. Which is, of course, huge for sure. Announcing is going to get those three bigs. Good for Indy, of course. But again, as I said, this show was awesome. The build for Money in the Bank has been outstanding. I'm loving most of the people who are getting in the Money in the Bank ladder matches. I'm liking the matches. Well, there was one that was set up on the show that was kind of like head scratching about. Then again, it'll probably be just either a cool-down match, or I think it'll be a match where somebody's either going to show up or somebody's going to turn heel. And that is that 6-man tag they announced between. I know this is a SmackDown match, but it's between Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens taking on the Bloodline. Not interested in that match, but I feel like that is on the card. Because something will happen. Either Roman will return during that match, The Rock will return during that match, or Randy Orton turns heel on Cody Rhodes. Because I still think if The Rock does not come back, I'm pretty sure the match at SummerSlam will be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton for the Undisputed title. That's probably my least favorite match on the card so far. But, again, at least it is going to lead to something. And again, something so simple as that. Keep it simple, give it a purpose, and you're good. Like, I remember, I think it was the 2018's Elimination Chamber build. The build was great for that men's match. Everyone had a story going into that match, except for one person, Roman Reigns. Yet he was the one we all knew who was going to win that chamber match. Because we had known for over a year that the main event of WrestleMania 34 was going to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Number 2. But my thing though was you can tell stories with all these other wrestlers. Why weren't you trying with Roman at the time? Again, of course, that's when Vince was around. Just the simplest little aspects of storytelling can just make stuff feel so good. Again, I'd say the two biggest stars of this show were Liv Morgan and Chad Gable. And Liv Morgan, for crying out loud, actually made the Judgment Day look great. And I've been saying for a while that I felt the booking of Judgment Day has been so inconsistent. Now, with what Liv is doing to help with Judgment Day, and they're actually succeeding, now it's actually making Judgment Day not look like a joke either. Unreal. How unreal is it? But we're 10 minutes into this review. Let's actually talk about the show. The show opened up with Michael Cole announcing that Pat McAfee is not going to be on the show. Now, I can't remember what Cole said why he wasn't on the show, but I think they tried to make it seem like that he may have been taken out by the Wyatt 6. But apparently the actual reason was people were wondering because he did interview Triple H earlier today. But apparently the reason why Pat was not on the show is because his father-in-law passed away. So definitely, thoughts and prayers for Pat McAfee's family, his wife's family, everybody involved on the passing of their loved one. In his place, though, was The Miz. And Miz was awesome. I mean, no pun intended, he indeed is awesome. But he was really good. Like, I think a lot of people were saying that when it does come time for him to retire, if he wants to be a color commentator, be my guest. Which, I'll be honest, I even felt, before even seeing this, that Miz would make a great color commentator. He's The Miz. He can talk. He's got the charisma. He can do it. So, that was a great thing there. As they're announcing that, also, as I see it on here also, thoughts and prayers also to Roman Reigns and his family, as his father, Sika Anuwai, passed away this past week. And also, Buddy Murphy and Rhea Ripley did officially tie the knot as well and got married this week. So there's some good news in there outside of, some of the bad news. Anyway, so let's roll with this. So, Michael Cole was talking about the Wyatt Six when they get interrupted because who casually walks right by them? Drew McIntyre. The man who quit last week. And of course, there was a segment later on in the show that made me think of a Seinfeld, so I'll explain when we get to that segment. Drew comes out and says, people were talking about he quit. Now they're talking about what he did on SmackDown. He wants to see it again. So they play the footage of when he beat up CM Punk on SmackDown this past Friday. He says he's done with all of us who chant for CM Punk. Because he promised his sick wife while he was in Scotland a world title win. Punk stopped that. But still, we chant, and to McIntyre, we're all dead. So he wants to talk right down the barrel of the camera to CM Punk at home. He hopes he's uncomfortable. He hopes he's in pain. And he hopes he's being fed through a straw because he did that to himself. He didn't just take his dignity. He also took the charm bracelet with his wife and his dog on it that he pulls out of his pocket and says this is worth to him about 50 cents. But it's priceless to Punk. Bearing the names of his wife and stupid dog. And bring them with him wherever he goes. He's going to continue succeeding while Punk sits alone and hurt. And now that he's got his wife and his dog in his corner, he will go on to Money in the Bank. He has to get into Money in the Bank. He will win Money in the Bank, cash in the same night, and become the world heavyweight champion to spite Punk's ass. Which, of course, again, is his feud going to a whole other level. Oh, gosh. A lot of people are saying, and I agree with this, and no offense to Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, or Seth Rollins and Gunther, or Damian and Gunther, I still think there is a chance Seth Rollins can win at Money in the Bank. Because I still personally think that the bigger match is Seth and Gunther. Nothing against Damian and Gunther. Seth and Gunther, I feel like, is the bigger match. But they're not making us easy for us to predict. We'll get to that match in a little bit. But no offense to any of those guys. Again, Cody and Randy and whoever Gunther fights. I really think that the main event of SummerSlam should be Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. That is going to be the hottest build, the best build going into SummerSlam, unless they do Cody Rhodes and The Rock. If they do Cody Rhodes and The Rock, that's definitely main eventing the show. But if not, I think Drew McIntyre and CM Punk need to main event that show. A lot of people are also saying that based off how the story's going, it should be an unsanctioned match. Which, you got a point. Technically, Drew McIntyre quit last week, but yet he's here on Raw, and he does have a Money in the Bank qualifier match next week. But basically, it's like, they build it to a point where, WWE's going to say, do whatever you guys want to each other. Anything goes, just so you guys don't tear each other apart. And I kind of agree. You could do the first match being unsanctioned. Which, of course, if it is unsanctioned, it should main event the show. Because if it doesn't count and it doesn't mean that, of course, WWE's not held responsible. And, of course, if it was an AEW, and they were still doing the ranking system, of course, they didn't count it towards their actual record because, again, they're not being held responsible. But, because technically, if it's not part of the show, it should be on last. Or, heck, it could be on first if they do Cody and The Rock, because, you know, technically they're not interrupting the show for the match. But I agree. But once again, great promo work by Drew. Again, this feud is getting even spicier and edgier, and it's more and more of a blood feud. Doesn't it help when there's just so much reality that gets put into this stuff? I love it. We of course get the recap of the Wyatt 6 debut last week. And of course we do see that Chad Gable is here, but he is refusing to comment. He's shielding his eyes after surviving the attack last week that was deadly for sure. And he is, despite the rumors, he is going to fight in his Money in the Bank qualifying match on this episode, which made me very happy because ever since Chad Gable cut that promo last week about how he wants to do what Otis couldn't do and win Money in the Bank and become world champion, which he could cash in on Cody. He could cash in on... Because here's the thing, though. Even though they would both be heels, a lot of people want to see him cash in on Gunther. You know, I think Gunther should have a long reign as world champion. Gunther's the one... Gable is the one that Gunther should have dropped the title to. Everybody says so. Again, I get why they did Sami Zayn instead, but setting the bar high and having them cash in on Gunther and dethroning Gunther would actually be pretty big. Although, again, I feel like if Gunther does win the world title, he is going to have a long reign with it. Because Gunther always seems to have long reigns with his championships, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, Chad Gable right now is my number one pick to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And, of course, you know, I'll talk more about that in a second. But, yeah, he wants nothing to do with the Wyatt 6, and he's, of course, obviously scarred from it. Braun Breaker comes out to get ready for a match against Ludwig Kaiser. Before the match started, Ludwig was being interviewed, and he don't want to talk about Sheamus. He wants to talk about Braun Breaker. He's going to prove that he's destined for greatness, and Braun is no Ludwig Kaiser. Obviously personal from whenever Braun speared Ludwig last week, interrupting him from beating down his rival Sheamus. They had a great match, Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser. I think I heard, though, Ludwig may have hurt a rib, though, during the match. So hopefully he is okay. But the match did end in a DQ because Sheamus got involved and laid Ludwig out with a brogue kick. And then, of course, afterwards, though, Braun speared both Ludwig and Sheamus at the same time because he is pissed that everybody keeps getting involved in his matches and his opportunities. And of course, then later on after the match, he has a backstage segment where he beefs to Adam Pearce about it, and he's demanding a match against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. And of course, at first, Adam Pearce is like, "I'll see what I can do," but then when they turn around, there's Sami Zayn sitting there. He's like, "You want a match? Anytime, any place." Braun says he wants it at Money in the Bank. And Sami tells Adam Pearce, make it happen. Of course, I really thought we were going to get a fatal four-way with Sami, Braun, Sheamus, and Ludwig. I don't know what's going to happen with Ludwig now, because again, I heard he might for real be hurt. But I guess they may be putting that off till SummerSlam. So I don't know if the match at Money in the Bank will actually end with a clean victory. There is a good chance it could end in the DQ and set up again for a fatal four-way for SummerSlam. I thought we would have it Money in the Bank, but we'll see. Or they may just give the belt to Braun Breaker. He is a heel. I think it is safe to keep him kind of on this like undefeated tear and whatnot, and him win the title as a heel. So it could happen. You never know. We'll see though. Oh yes. So Judgment Day were backstage, chilling in their lounge. And they were playing video games. And Dominik Mysterio has a huge plate of chicken nuggets. He should have gotten some saucy nuggets from Wendy's, as Wendy's is now having some saucy nuggets. I only got to try the garlic parm ones so far because they were out of honey barbecue when I went there. But anyways, I still love the pretzel baconator better. Anyways, I didn't say that. Damian Priest came in, and he confronts Dom about being distracted by Liv Morgan. And he said, when's it going to be over? And he's distracted in the moment and shows Damian Priest his phone, which, assuming Liv sent him a very suggestive photograph. We never saw it, of course. All the boys stood up, and of course Carlito just gets in there and goes, that's cool. And then Damian's like, no, we're not doing that. So he tells everybody to go handle their business. And then confronts everyone else about sitting around playing video games. And then he's basically emphasizing that the Braun Strowman problem needs to be handled. And they basically agreed to go handle it. And they rallied the troops. They were going to, of course, try to interfere on Braun during his Money in the Bank qualifying match. Then we had a women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. Kairi Sane versus Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler. Thought it was a great match. Of course, the Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler moments made me think back to their matches in NXT. I thought they worked very well together in this match. Lyra as well, again, looked great as well. And as I expected, Lyra did get the victory with the Nightwing. I think she hit it on Kairi, I think it was. She hit it. So she's in Money in the Bank. As I figured she would be, I don't see her winning it, though. I really think it's going to be... I still think, she still has to win her match on Friday. I still think it's going to be Tiffany Stratton. She seems like the best fit to win Money in the Bank. Although, I would not be opposed to Chelsea Green winning it either. I wouldn't. I don't see a reason for Io to win it again, if I'm being honest. She still could, but I don't think she's going to. But right now, either Chelsea or Tiffany, I think, is going to win it. I think they're going to give it to Tiffany, as they should. Especially if they're running the storyline where she's trying to be Nia Jax's princess. Could be a good way to keep making them more of a dominating duo. But Lyra does win. Backstage, okay, here's where I was going to talk about the Seinfeld episode. So Drew McIntyre is backstage yelling at Adam Pearce, demanding to put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And he says, why should you? You don't deserve it with how much you've been disrupting the show. And McIntyre says his case and says he blames Adam doing the right thing because if he doesn't, he'll find out the meaning of disruption. And there was a time where Pearce did mention, you quit last week. And it made me think of that episode of Seinfeld whenever George quit his job because he was upset that they wouldn't, about something with not being able to use his boss's bathroom or something like that. And he just showed up to work that Monday, realizing he made a big mistake. Turned out like nothing happened. And his boss was like, am I mistaken? Or didn't you quit? And that was kind of the same thing here with Drew. Like, what? Quit? Nah, that wasn't quitting. Teasing, huh? Of course, Drew didn't slip Pearce a Mickey like George did. Anyways, though, when he leaves, the camera follows Liv Morgan getting ready to make her way out to the entrance. We have Liv Morgan come out. She says she knows Dominik Mysterio, which she's wearing a shirt, by the way, that says Daddy's Girl. She knows Dom's playing hard to get, but she's got more gifts for him and his friends, and claims that Rhea never cared for him the way he deserves. And she says Daddy Dom needs to come down here so she can give him another gift in front of all these people. And I'm like, oh shoot, what gift is that going to be? Don't do another live celebration like Edge and Lita, but of course Dom probably won't do it yet. But it could happen, who the heck knows? Anyways, Zelina Vega though interrupts and comes out. And she says she has a gift for everyone here. To shut Liv up. she doesn't know. And here's the thing, too. This is how you knew that Zelina cut a great promo. She got the crowd to react to and like repeat the terms she used. Like, this is probably one of the best promos Zelina has cut since her days in NXT. She said that she doesn't know why Liv is obsessed with Rhea's sloppy seconds. Oh, man. But she's out here to talk about the title she's clearly forgotten about. And while she's out here chasing Dirty D, which we know she didn't just mean Dirty Dom, right? She definitely meant something else. But while that's going on, Zelina's here to chase the WWE Women's World Championship. Liv claims she didn't forget about the title. And she runs down the list of stuff she did to win the title. Even though one of them, I still disagree with her saying that she sent Becky Lynch into early retirement because she didn't really beat her down. She just got smacked in the face with a steel cage and Liv walked out. If she would have like actually beaten her down to write her off the show, that probably would have made more sense. But, you know, it didn't quite happen. But anyways, she then... Zelina then challenges for the title. Liv then says, I'm in the middle of something. So how about next week? Which we are getting that match next week. And it was made official later on the show. But then, Dominik does come out. Mr. Dirty Sanchez. He admits he got Liv's gifts. But he didn't like them. And of course, as the crowd's booing his head off, they're chanting, "Sloppy seconds! Sloppy seconds!" And Zelina treats herself to a dry heave. And then Dom tries to talk, but of course has to stop every time he gets 3 words out and he gets booed out of the building. And he says he wants to help Zelina if she has a title match. Zelina says she doesn't want help, and in fact, Dom better stay away. But Liv then blindsides her and starts beating her down. Dom just stands there and does nothing. Until Dom's daddy, his deadbeat dad, as he calls him, Rey Mysterio, comes out to save Zelina. And Dom then shoves Rey while saving Zelina. But of course, did Dom do that because he just still holds a grudge against his father? Or did Dom find a way to, save Liv because they secretly are already a thing? And of course, Liv is so happy, like, "You saved me! You saved me!" It's like an episode of SVU where, no, I'm not going there, I'm not going there either. Stop, Mike, stop! Getting weird comparisons in my head here. Stop! No more Dirty D, no more SVU, no more sloppy seconds, no more LDS, no more anything. No more! Can't help it. Anyways, yes, definitely a great segment. And again, I love the fact that we got to see Zelina Vega cut another great promo. She's been booked like crap for the longest time. I definitely don't see her winning the title. I'm still a little confused as to why her and Liv are actually fighting, because although Liv's trying to help Judgment Day, they're still not acknowledging Liv's help. Well, up until this point, they weren't acknowledging Liv's help yet. So to me, I felt like, Liv was kind of at the time being a disadvantage to Judgment Day. But, except for a little title match on Raw, I'm not going to complain, especially when they give Zelina microphone time to actually be able to shoot the breeze a little, if you know what I mean. And when I say shoot the breeze, does not mean shoot on AEW, because all AEW do is shoot on WWE. Anyways, so then we go backstage. Kathy Kelly's waiting for Chad Gable, and they talk, and Kathy Kelly acknowledges that medical personnel have been there, as has Adam Pearce. And they all cleared Chad Gable to compete in this match. Before their match, though, Liv Morgan was chasing after Dom backstage to thank him for saving her from his father, and she claims that Dom proves he cares. Dom just shrugs it off and says he only did it because Ray is terrible, and he leaves. But then Liv Morgan starts going a little more to work there. R-Truth rolls up, and Liv encourages him to have him and Miz give Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough a tag title match. And he only agreed to it because he claims, I still have a soft spot for Tom and Nick Mysterio. And he does love love stories, so he'll do it, which of course, Miz, of course, is like, Truth, why are you doing this? Why are you agreeing to these tag matches without confronting me about it? Now, I feel like if this was Vince McMahon, they probably would have had Miz turn on R-Truth, but that didn't happen, of course, later on the show. This is also where Miz left commentary to go get ready for that match. Chad Gable had a promo. He says rumors of his demise were greatly exaggerated, and yes, he was bludgeoned and bloodied, but Chad Gable can't be killed. He lives! Thank you! And in the act of true bravery, he's going to face two monsters and go on to call himself Master in the Bank. And so he has his match against Braun Strowman. And as Pat McAfee likes to call him now, Big Son of a Bitch! Braun Strowman. And the match, I kind of expected what we got between two monsters and the smaller men. Kind of reminded me a little bit of whenever Daniel Bryan took on Big Show and Mark Henry in 2012 in that steel cage match at the Rumble. It was a great match. And what I still like about Gable, again, face or heel, he works very well with the bigger men. His character is not full-on coward. Yes, there's something he's afraid with, obviously, like the Wyatt 6, but he still wrestles great matches. Now, of course, eventually, though, Judgment Day does come out and cuts off Strowman and takes him out of the match. Eventually, though, Chad Gable was able to get a victory, though, with a moonsault. And he is in Money in the Bank, which I'm glad to hear that. Again, I think Chad Gable needs to win that briefcase. Anyone in that match so far, I am okay with winning it. But out of all the four men who have qualified so far, Chad Gable's definitely my favorite to win. Like, for crying out loud, like, he has the story. He is the hottest he has been. Yes, you have Jey Uso, who is over like hotcakes, but Jey has a story right now. I feel like if Jey won the briefcase, it would kind of be a thing like, okay, let's give him the briefcase, but let's wait and see when the right time is for him to cash in. Chad Gable, he has the story. He has, heck, they're already teasing him and the Creed brothers. This could very well be whenever he does cash in, when they do officially put him and the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile together. I really think Chad Gable needs to be the one to win that briefcase. I really hope they do. Again, you've already given him great stuff in the mid-cards. Make him a main eventer. This character, again, is the hottest Chad Gable has ever been. You want to make him the legitimate modern-day Kurt Angle, give him that briefcase and give him the belt. Again, you didn't give it to him with Sami Zayn, but this is your chance now to capitalize. Again, there is still a story, which is why Chad Gable's momentum still lives. I really think he should get that briefcase. Anyways, after the match, though, he celebrates until the lights go out. We hear, of course, the piano part of Bray Wyatt's song play again. And it looks like we get, yet again, the arrival of the Wyatt 6. Fog is in the ring, and you see Nikki Cross crawling into the ring, and Gable just scurries out of the ring. And she slides out of the ring and grabs a box and hands it to Michael Cole before she walks through the crowd and disappears into the mist. Now, knowing if Vince McMahon was booking this, He wouldn't have even shown what was in the box or made us wait for weeks. And then we didn't care anymore. Exposed as a regular spider. Like Eric Rowan. But Eric Rowan's now involved in something bigger and better. Michael Cole then said that the box apparently was addressed to Pat McAfee. And he reveals in the box that it's a VHS tape labeled Play Me. Which he says he'll pass it to a crew member. He'll take it to the production truck to see if they can get it to play. Which they did later on. We'll get to that shortly. Chad Gable was backstage. He went running back to Otis, Maxine's, and Tozawa's locker room. When they came out, he apologized. He admits he's been rough and he crossed the line. And he says families fight, but they also stick together. Otis, though, sticks to his guns and says he's sorry about what happened to him, but they're still done. And then they walk away except for Maxine, who explains that Otis is really hurt, but she's glad that Chad's okay. She says, give Otis time and he will talk. Of course, Gable then feels alone and deceived. But then, that's when Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers roll up and ask him, are you okay? And Chad goes, I need help. And that's the last we saw of Chad Gable on the camera. Oh boy, like I said, I really, really thought that we would see them become a thing at Clash of the Castle. We didn't, but I think, sometimes having a heel get their comeuppance and hit, like a bottom patch, but then, of course, still have something to work off of afterwards, I think it's going to pay off. But again, it has to pay off with Chad Gable winning Money in the Bank. It has to happen, please. Anyways. A decent match, but probably the weakest part of the show was this tag match with the Unholy Union, the women's tag champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, taking on the team of Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. The match was fine again. Like I said, I still feel a little strange about the Unholy Union being tag champs. I think they're talented, yes, but again, they haven't been allowed to develop their characters on the main roster yet. So I still don't get why they gave them the titles in Scotland. They could have given either Drew or Piper a title, I thought. But Unholy Union do win. Afterwards, though, Damage Control come out and they beat down the tag champs and leave them laying. This is Damage Control getting more aggressive again because EO keeps saying that Damage Control has to change. What does that mean? We'll have to find out. Anyways, afterwards then, we see Liv Morgan going back to the Judgment Day's little clubhouse. She goes in there and she confronts Damian Priest. Priest goes inside and sees Finn and asks if he sees how sketchy all this is. Finn then begs off, saying she was just telling them that she got Dom a match against Rey Mysterio next week, which some are speculating that could be when Rhea Ripley returns. Because of what happened later on in the show happens with Dom and Rey, I think Dom might be getting his first win over his father, thanks to Liv, and I think Dom is going to slowly shut up hiding the truth about him and Liv. And maybe that be when Rhea comes back and Mommy punishes her Latino heat. Maybe, we'll see. But anyways, yes, she got them a match, Dom a match against Rey next week, as well as she got Finn Balor and JD McDonough a match for the World Tag Titles. Priest says too good to be true, and he says he's got business to handle. But he wishes them luck in their title match, and he heads to the ring to talk to Seth Rollins. Of course, Miz is freaking out on Truth getting backstage about their match, but Truth tries to settle him down, on the love story aspect, but Miz is only worried about their tag titles, to which Truth says, Miz, I love you, but only as a friend. R-Truth keeps saying these awkward lines and it's hilarious. Anyways, Damian then comes out. And he's on the mic and says, the Seth Rollins video package humbled. I left him inspired. When Seth says he sees a version of himself in Priest, he draws comparisons between them, both as members of factions and individuals and champions. He doesn't know what he sees in Seth, a man that he doesn't want to become. He doesn't want to stand in this ring and see his successor, a man who's bigger, stronger, better. He's the world champ, and as long as he is, he claims Rollins will never see mountaintop again. Now, out comes Seth Rollins. He gets on the mic and says, Raw is still Monday Night Rollins. And he takes issue with the idea that he can't take the title from Priest. He just doesn't believe in that confidence. It's false bravado. He says that in both of Damian's title defenses, it seemed obvious that he had help from Judgment Day and CM Punk for him to retain. Priest says he sees where he's coming from. And he didn't ask for help, but it happened. He can't change it, but he can work going forward to prove he's the man he says he is. Which, again, I still love the story because it's building more babyface sympathy on Damian. Meanwhile, Seth is standing here holding a whole lot of nothing. And Seth says he doesn't appreciate being one-upped. Challenging to a title match is a bold move. But he wants to one-up Damian with a challenge for a challenge. He wants to sweeten the pot. And he first says, if Damian retains the title of Money in the Bank, Seth will not be able to challenge him for the title again as long as Priest is champion. But if Seth wins, they'll find out if he really can stand on his own 2 feet. Because if Rollins wins, Damian Priest must leave Judgment Day. Priest then says Judgment Day need him more than he needs them. And he accepts. Ooh, those are some big stakes there. And then, of course, Gunther came out and basically just said, may the best man win. He looks forward to fight either one of them at SummerSlam, basically. Those stakes, though, oh man, are interesting in multiple ways. Like, what will Damian do if he does, in fact, lose Judgment Day? Because now, based off of how this ended, I don't know if Judgment Day is officially breaking up for good yet. Like, there could at least be some pieces that stick together, but if Damian wins, again, Seth can't challenge for a title while he's champion again. But if Seth wins, Damian must leave Judgment Day. That's starting to make me think more and more. Because the 2 people that would be leaving Judgment Day are the 2 people that really aren't factoring into Liv Morgan's plans. Again, she didn't do anything for Damian. And she wants to make Rhea's life a living hell. So I still think, again, if they do Damian Priest and Gunther at SummerSlam for the world title, I'm not going to complain. I still think, though, the bigger dream match, though, is Seth and Gunther. So I still think there's a good chance Seth's going to win at Money in the Bank. I would love to see Damian win to prove himself, because I do think that's been a great story. But again, I kind of want to see Seth and Gunther at SummerSlam. I feel like that's the bigger match for SummerSlam. Just saying. But that was great to add those stakes. And then, my favorite part of the night by far. We had Michael Cole then announcing that the production team was able to track down a VCR and get the VHS tape that Nikki Kross left for him. So they play the tape. And I watched this segment and I sat there and I thought, damn it, if only Bray Wyatt was still around. Because to me, this kind of told us what we were probably going to get if Bray Wyatt was able to play out his story, his new gimmick, and the direction he's going with the Wyatt 6. Because the tape plays, and it's Uncle Howdy. He's talking to someone. We're wondering who it is, because he's asking this person if they've been happy, how they've been since the loss of Bray, and if they feel forgotten, if they remember who they are. So it's obviously set in the tone as like a therapy session, which I feel like based off of the clues that Uncle Howdy was giving before when Bray was around, I feel like segments like this would have happened eventually. Like these like counseling sessions and whatnot. But it's revealed, and I think a lot of us were shocked because they didn't think they would go this far with it. They revealed that the person that Uncle Howdy was talking to was Bo Dallas. Yes, they actually showed Bo Dallas, not in the Howdy costume at all, as himself. And I was shocked. A ton of us were shocked. Because again, we didn't think they were ever going to reveal identities. So who's to say that, the other members of the Wyatt 6 are going to have their real identities revealed as well. Which would be very interesting, of course, to this story. But anyways, Bo then says he's nobody. Uncle Howdy asks him how it felt when his brother died. He says it was like the most important thing in his life was taken from him. Nothing was ever going to matter again. And then, because people were mentioning this, they were worried that, this wouldn't work with him trying to carry on Bray Wyatt's legacy. But Uncle Howdy then asks, are you exploiting your brother's legacy? And this, Bo just gave one of the most heartfelt answers saying, all he ever wanted in the world was to be like his brother. He looked up to him. He wanted to be him. He wanted to work his entire career and have opportunities to work next to him. And they were just about to do that. They were finally making it happen. They were there. They had it. And then he's gone. Nobody feels more hurt than he does by his brother's loss. Not one person feels like he feels. And it's he that lets Bray become a Macedonian and forget what he stood for. They wanted to forget about him. They wanted to forget about all of them. But it didn't happen. They made them all remember. Uncle Howdy agrees, and we get a long shot of them sitting across from each other before the tape ends. I love this. Again, it just still feels like, it really feels like, again, it truly feels like this was what we were supposed to get from the Bray Wyatt character if, again, his career didn't get cut short. I love this. And like I said before, I think they need to kind of explore this with everybody in the Wyatt 6. Develop those characters. Have all of them have the two egos and whatnot. Again, how it transitions to the ring, we'll have to wait and see. I love this. I didn't think they were going to go this far with it. Especially, again, having Bo Dallas be exposed, showing himself. Even though we all know that he is the one dressed up as Uncle Howdy. But showing both sides of his ego. And just simply saying their mission is to carry on Bray Wyatt's legacy. Basically, he wants to finish he always wanted to be like his brother, which is so very true. And he wants to basically finish what Bray Wyatt started. And he's going to feel like Bray Wyatt, but that's totally okay. Because the story is he always wanted to be like his brother. And he's getting to be like his brother. I love this segment. Absolutely loved it. Again, I want more of this. I love this. This is awesome. Again, I feel like I'm finally As a fan also, it feels like, again, we are getting what we were supposed to get from Bray Wyatt. And Taylor Rotunda, I thank you. And for Bray's, legacy, for your legacy as well, because you didn't get a fair shot either, Bo, I really hope this works for him. I really, really hope it does. When we move on, though, something also I'm liking is this lower card feud between the New Day and Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross had a match with Kofi Kingston, and with some involvement from the Office of Pain beating down Xavier Woods backstage, Paul Ellering actually cut a promo, which was well done. Karrion Kross wins. I like that they're starting to finally give some juice to the final test of it. I mean, the best way this has to work is for New Day to break up, which, again, I think it's about time it happens. But, again, I have been waiting to see Karrion Kross get the push he deserves. Because, again, I know they built him up as, like, the next Goldberg or Brock Lesnar in NXT, and, of course, that got ruined, thanks to Vince. But, again, go back and listen to his interviews with Chris Van Vliet. This guy is artistic. He has a lot of creativity to bring to the table. If you just let him open his mind and let him just, let it flow to paper, he's going to be someone else who's big. I really, really hope this... I feel like I'm starting to see the light for Karrion Kross and the final test of it. So I hope this continues, for sure. And then we finally get the main event, which was Awesome Truth versus Finn Balor and JD McDonough for the tag titles. Match was great. And again, to help out, Liv Morgan did come out towards the end of the match and hugged R-Truth. But then she hung his neck over the rope and off the distraction, and I can't remember where Miz was, but Finn Balor was able to shotgun drop kick Truth to the corner and hit the coup de grace to win. And Judgment Day again are your new tag team champions. Thanks to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's champion. She is basically having everything fall into the palm of her hands. She's helping Judgment Day succeed. Again, it's unreal. Just slight adjustments to a character and what she can do for everyone else she's involved with. Again, she's making Judgment Day look great. Again, Rhea Ripley, obviously is going to have a big, massive babyface return. And again, I think Damian Priest, again, someone who Liv really isn't trying to help right now. I think he's going to benefit also for when he gets kicked out of Judgment Day. Now that I say it more, I do think Seth's going to win the title from him in Money in the Bank. I hate to see him drop it, but I feel like if he drops it, he will not be a nobody. He will actually have a story to keep him in the main event scene. So, I'm really excited to see where Raw goes forward. Again, what an excellent show. Excellent match, qualifying matches. Next week we are getting Drew McIntyre fighting for a spot in Money in the Bank. Can't remember who the women's match is going to be, but that's happening as well next week, I believe so. But Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn is going to be kick-ass. We're getting Liv and Zelina next week. We're just about a little over a week away from Money in the Bank, and I am so excited for that show. It's going to be awesome. And again, this Raw just made me 50 times more excited for the show. What an episode. I gave it an A. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What are your guys' thoughts about this week's episode of Raw? Give your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on TikTok at the Club of the Man 1993. Again, the Twitter and Instagram pages will be back someday. They're currently down right now, taking a break. And again, we will start fresh once we bring those back soon. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Probably sometime this week I'll do my SmackDown review as well. Tomorrow night I will not be watching as I have something else I do want to attend tomorrow night. Busy weekend, but I will get the SmackDown when I can and get that reviewed as well. And of course, next week, no Raw or SmackDown reviews. There will be a Money in the Bank preview and a Money in the Bank review. And of course, I'll try to get some other content in there as well, possibly as well. We'll see, guys. But again, Thanks again for watching. Have yourself a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!